All right, we're back today and we're talking about plant-based snacks. What can I grab when I'm on the go? How many calories are there? And where are some of us going wrong? Where are some of these extra calories coming from? And I can tell you it's not from the fruit. So most fresh fruit that I'm going to grab is going to average 100 to 150 for most containers. So I went to Whole Foods and I got this giant plum. It's huge. It's the size of my palm here. It's big. And so this large plum is 76 calories. So it's under 100. Same goes for these really large apples. So the apples nowadays are bigger than my fist. And this would be considered a large apple, and it's 142 calories for this apple here. And so again, it's in that 100 to 150 calorie range. Next up would be a pear because it's fall here in Maine. So a pear clocks in at around 130 calories. So again, a 100-calorie snack is a good place to start. And these are around that, between the 100 and 150 calorie range. Now, the really fun thing to look at is that strawberries. So for this entire container, the entire pint of strawberries here, I can eat this whole thing for less than 150 calories. This is 145, this entire container. Blueberries are a little bit denser. So this is the larger container. It's like a double container of blueberries. If I were to just get the single one, like the typical one that would match the size of the blackberries, it would only be 100 per container. But because this is a double, this is a 200 calorie container of blueberries. Blackberries and raspberries are really low in calories. So this entire container of blackberries is only 73 calories. So that's why blackberries and raspberries are really good snacks. And same with strawberries in terms of really creating a lot of bulk. Blueberries are not bad. They're just a little higher in calories. But again, they're a better option compared to what we're going to talk about. And the last thing, or the second to last thing here are those raspberries. Now I can eat raspberries like they're going out of business. And this container of raspberries is only 88 calories. So all of these fruits, and I'll stack them over here, all of these fruits that we're talking about are in, again, that 100 to 150 calorie range. And that's really where I want to be when it comes to snacking. And all of these things are so quick and easy to grab and go. You know, you can rinse the berries or the fruit at home and then just take it with you. And there's really no prep to it. One of my favorite snacks when I'm in a calorie deficit are sugar snap peas. Now, this entire bag, it's from Trader Joe's, the organic sugar snap peas here. It's about half a pound. And this is, sorry, I wrote it down right here. This is 136 calories. So for this, I could have, similar to an apple. But this has a lot more bulk to it, and it's really going to help me to feel full if I'm having a day where my hunger is high. And so that's why snacking on veggies can be so helpful as a weight loss strategy if I'm really needing to snack in between meals. Fruit is the first place I want to start. And then when I'm really getting into a significant calorie deficit, that's when I really want to switch over to, if I need a snack between meals, really reaching for the veggies. So let's talk about snacking items that are really commonly seen here in the US, but aren't a great option when it comes to helping us feel more full between meals. And so one of the first things that I typically will see are people snacking on nuts. And one of the most difficult thing about nuts is that a quarter cup of nuts is 150 calories. So this little handful of nuts is the same as this massive apple. And so really I want to look for volume if my goal is weight loss or weight maintenance in the long run. And the thing about these nuts is that I can close my fist around them. The thing about these nuts is that most people are not going to just have one handful of nuts, or we're going to exaggerate that handful. And so it's really easy to get a lot of calories in between meals if we're snacking on nuts. And if they're salted, then they tend to be even more hyperpalatable. So you can eat more salted nuts, like you'll have more of an inborn drive to eat them than you would unsalted nuts, but really not something that I want to be snacking on, something that I want to be more careful to be using as my added fat or dressing on a plate. Now, another place that I see people go wrong when we're thinking about adding a lot of saturated fat and calories is snacking on cheese. So this is from Trader Joe's. It's the cheddar cheese snack pack, and it says it's 80 calories a piece. And it's telling me here it's about 21 grams, and that is close. So I have an 80 calorie um, thing of cheese. I can get to 160, so I could have two things of cheese for my apple. And a lot of people will combine these two things. But when I do that, I don't leave any room for any other snacks throughout the day or any bites or treats after dinner. And so I really want to try to just have large bulk items that I can, like a giant apple, over things that are really small. And if you could see it in the palm of my hands, you'll see that one takes up a lot more room in my stomach, and that means it's actually going to help me feel full for longer. And we'll talk a little bit more in the program about the body weight set point and why we don't want to be adding a lot of added fat and why that actually makes a difference. But most people that I'm seeing are typically taking cheese, and maybe we're being judicious and we're only having one slice at 80 calories. Well, the thing is here is that when I add 20 calories of crackers, this is around 100 calories of crackers, and it's really not that much. And so typically, here's what I tend to see people doing. And a lot of the times I'm seeing a lot more cheese added. So think that this right here is just 200 calories. And a lot of the times when we're left to our own devices, most of us will eat 2 or 3 times this amount. And so it's a way that when I start to think about snacking, sometimes what we end up doing is really adding in like full meals worth of calories. And the goal here is to get away from that. So that is a really common thing that I see, that I want to get away from these things that really don't add any bulk. It's just so tiny in my hand here compared to, for example, an entire container like this and this is less calories than this handful right here. And so calorie density and volume really make a difference. And anybody that tells you that a calorie is just a calorie, yes, it is in terms of the amount of energy it's going to give us and the likelihood of us, like calories matter when it comes to weight loss, and we need to eat less calories. But when it comes to eating food, we don't want to eat less food. We want to eat larger portions of lower calorie density foods, because that is how we work with hunger and not against it when we are losing weight. All right. Other crazy things that I see. So these Bobo's bars, I pick on them all the time because this would be wonderful if I was stranded on like a desert island. I would eat these because they're yummy, but they're so hyper palatable. And the crazy thing is that these are 170 calories for half a bar. So if I'm looking for that 100 calorie range, then I'm looking at like 20 something grams. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm not half a bar, right? Because that's 170 calories right there, my half a bar. And then I'm going to split that in half again. Yeah. All right. Yep. 28. That's even more. That's too much. Oh, I just need to take a little bit off here. Wow. Okay. So we'll add the little smidge to it. So that is about 100 calories. So this is under 100 calories. This is nothing. And I think that's why a lot of us feel like, oh my God, Jess, I'm not eating any food. Because if I don't change what I'm eating, then there's no volume here. Like I'm not going to feel full. This is one mouthful. I don't know if you guys can tell, but like this is no food. And this is a lot of food. And then I can even make it even bigger if I want it, if I'm feeling really hungry, or if I really need to curb my appetite, I can have something that has a lot of fiber to it. But this is nothing. This is not any food. And so when you start to hear people talk about just eating less, I'm like, I can't eat less of this. What am I gonna? Oh, okay, I'll take off the little bit and now I'll have 80 calories, right? But a lot of these high calorie foods, we can't just eat less of, because if we could, we wouldn't have gained the weight. If I could eat that whole bar and it had less calories in it, I would be fine, but it doesn't. And so generally what happens is that almost all of us will eat to satiety, where it's really hard to fight hunger. And so instead of trying to just eat less, which we know we can't do in the long term, we need to eat different foods. So that's why we're going to snack on fresh fruit and vegetables. And really then also being judicious of one of the things that I made a mistake of when I first went plant-based was thinking that because these are lower in calorie density, and because this entire container of strawberries right here is only 145 calories, that I could eat lots and lots of fruit as snacks throughout the day. So I wasn't judicious about my snacking when I first went plant-based. And snacking in between meals is a really easy way to add a lot of calories to our day. So in the program, what we focus on is 3 meals and then 2 snacks that we are going to very purposefully choose, where we're not snacking and grazing throughout the day. And then working towards, okay, well, can we combine them all and make them into just 3 meals as we near that last 10 pounds. Okay. Last thing that I tend to see, and one of the favorites in the weight loss and wellness program of people coming into it, are these Trader Joe's peanut butter cups. Now, how much of these peanut butter cups? Oh, sorry. All right. How much of these peanut butter cups is 100 calories? Now, the crazy thing is that 3 pieces is 190. So 2 pieces is 80 or sorry, 3 pieces is 190. So a piece and a half would be 80 calories. So not quite 2 of these would be the equivalent right here of an entire container of raspberries. The raspberries actually has less. And so this is why if I'm having this, and then I'm having, oh, this is the bigger one. Oh, well. And then I'm having a bite of something. This is why we can take bites of food throughout the day and that calories add up so quickly, but we don't feel like we've eaten because there's no bulk to them. This right here would be the equivalent, right, of my raspberries and my plum. And this is a lot more bulk. I can't fit this all in one hand versus this I can, I mean, and this is more calories, which is just crazy to me. So when it comes to snacking, not all snacks are equal. And then one other thing that we need to start to think about are juice. And juice is a really easy way to add more calories because our body, our stomach has the ability to actually sieve liquid around the food that we're eating. And so when we drink juice, we are just adding calories to our day. And this is just the lemonade from Trader Joe's. And it has 160 in this container. So say that I have an apple around 150 calories and I have a juice. Well, I can have both of these and they have similar amounts of calories in them, but this is not going to register in my brain that I've eaten anything, that I have calories that are going to displace something in the future. And so that's why it's so important that we don't drink our calories. And so we want to start working towards unsweetened herbal tea, or really just focusing on water if we can. But any of these added calories that we're drinking in juice form really are just added calories. So we want to be so careful of that. All right, 2 other snacks that I commonly see. So this, these are the pretzels, the peanut butter pretzels, right, from Trader Joe's. And the crazy thing is that 10 pretzels is 150 calories. So what's a third of 10? Or sorry, 2/3 of 10. For 100 calories, or let's say the equivalent of my apple here, I get 10 pieces and it's telling me it's 31 grams. Let's see. So I've got 1 handful. Oh, I'm already over. Okay, about right there. So we're a gram over. So 150 calories here is 1 handful. I don't know anybody who has these pretzels at home that just eats a handful. And I can tell you that these pretzels are leaving my house after this because if they're in the house, we're going to eat them. And the trouble is that we might go and have 1 handful, but I can tell you by the end of the day, there's probably 3 or 4 handfuls And at four handfuls, you're looking at an extra 600 calories. That's more than a meal that we're making. And so that's why, again, we have to be so careful about snacking in between meals and then being very clear about what are we snacking on and trying to get our fruits and our vegetables and our berries in between meals as something that can really help to boost our weight loss. Now, the last thing that we're going to look at here are the potato chips. And I was chatting with someone the other day and they were talking about potato chips and how their husband brought home a small bag, like an individual serving size of it. And they were like, oh my God, there's no chips in here. How is that one serving? And that is how I feel about a lot of these chips. So if we're looking at potato chips in the house, this is something that no food's ever off limits, but I would not keep this in my house because I know that once it's open, it's going to get eaten. So after this demo, I will go and I will give these away. But one of the things that I like to think about is that a lot of us think that we can have one serving. And throughout this program, it's been running for 9 months now, and my work in primary care, talking to people about having these hyperpalatable foods in the home. Nobody just eats one serving, and they're almost always gone in the course of a day or two. So I want you to think that this bag right here is what, 650 calories. And so this is a full meal. So if I eat this over the course of 2 or 3 days, I've added a full meal to one of my days in terms of the amount of calories that I'm having extra. Now it's telling me that 130 calories is 28 grams. So I'm just going to grab one handful, okay? And I'm looking for 28 grams. Ooh, I apparently I have small hands. Okay, here we go. All right, that's 28 grams of chips. Now, when I look at this is two handfuls of potato chips. This is me reaching over to like my significant other while I'm watching TV and grabbing two full handfuls of potato chips. And it's just so important to know that for this amount of calories, I can have 200 grams of potato that I put in my air fryer. And so we're going from 28 grams to like literally 10 times the amount of just potato. I can cut it into French fries even. There are so many better ways that we can be snacking than this. And I can tell you that this isn't going to make me feel full. And because it's hyper palatable, I am now going to think about this open bag in my kitchen. And so again, thank you guys for chatting with me today about snacking and choices that we can make. And I just want to think about how can I be more proactive about the choices that I'm making and how can I make healthier choices? And it's really fruit and vegetables as a snack and trying to stay away from these hyperpalatable foods and especially the ones that have all these nutrition claims on them because they really are just processed foods. And I don't care if it's vegan or plant-based, their calorie density just tends to be too high. All right, hopefully that's helpful.